I don't know why I wake up so happy. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. But well, how's everybody doing? I'm smoking a little bit better when I show it on the on the screen. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Now I went to bed at 8 o'clock. I usually don't go to bed so early. I'm doing so much. And, running the theater, I have rehearsal today. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have rehearsals. And there have been so many things going right and so other many things going wrong. Technical issues, staging. I just hired a new stage manager. She'll be here because the other ones didn't work. I had to fire some actor, rehire now. It's crunch time. It's crunch time. You know. Also, a couple of announcements. I had no idea that people didn't know that I do personal readings. You can call me and get a personal reading. 347-485-6258. I never advertise, and I'm being told by my management team that I have to do that because there are people that are not aware that I do personal readings, private readings. Yes, I do, and I guess I take it for granted that you know that. Now, so they're telling me to say it. So I do personal readings. You can call me, book an appointment, and we do I do private readings. My readings are 2 hours at a time. So I have a pad and pencil, I have a tape recorder, and I talk about anything and everything. And then another reason why I don't like to advertise for personal readings is because my readings are very intense, and some people get very frightened by them. If it's a relationship, if you don't want to know something about your partner, don't ask me because you're gonna know, and that might be a problem. Nothing is off the table once I get your birth date and birth time and your name and start reading you. Which is why my readings are a little pricey, but I stay with you for the entire year, consulting with you, and you with me. I got 10,000 subscribers. Not many people are going to have that kind of access to me. Imagine when I reach 100,000 or a million. There's no way that I can do consultations, private consultations. So take advantage of it now while I'm accessible to you, because once our numbers go up, it will be impossible for me to do personal or private readings. I will have to hire other astrologers to take over the volume, and it won't be from me. You won't be getting a reading from me personally, but from my other staff of astrologers. And I'm already having several in training. So if you want access to me, do it now while the numbers are low, because they are, exponentially increasing. And with YouTube, in this business, it's about the numbers. So as the numbers go higher and higher and higher, I start getting personal salary from YouTube, which will cut off from having to get salaries or readings from you. See? Because once you reach a certain level of volume, it's impossible to do this unless you have an organization that is keeping up with the volume. Okay? So, yes, so I do personal readings. Just call me, 347-485-6258, or you email me both on Yahoo or on Gmail. Okay? And I'm in Google. Okay, today we're going to talk about neutral compatibility because it can go either way with this combination, and that is Taurus and Taurus. Taurus and Taurus. Fixed Earth with fixed Earth. So we will consider this compatibility of signs, like Capricorn and Virgo, or Taurus and Virgo. Well, Taurus and Taurus. This is a country club Red Rock with a little bit of vodka. I know it's 10 o'clock, but I just did a little tricklet, just a little tricklet, a little tricklet. So Taurus and Taurus. You would think, well, it's hard to really think how this combination can work. But it can work. The problem is, again, with the earth signs, is the problem and the issue of stagnation, complacency, you know, catatonia. And on the other side of the polarity, we have excess. Because understand that Taurus is ruled by Venus. And now Venus girl can be excessive, especially when it comes to the sweets. Because, Venus and Taurus have a sweet tooth. So, what does that mean? This sign, in its negative aspect or in its shadow aspect, is considered the sign of the sloth and overabundance and overindulgence. The other sign that is also like this is Pisces, the vagabond, and a close third, Sagittarius, the voyeur, and also a vagabond too, it could be. The sexual adventurer who goes from town to town fucking every girl he can. That's Sagittarius. That's why many Sagittarian men have very long organs, if you know what I mean. It is a sign of the horse. There's a reason for that. So, understand that indulgence and or overindulgence can occur internally when we're dealing with Taurus, or externally as the whole, like Sagittarius, the Don Juan of the zodiac. So these are the signs that can very easily go into indulgence and excesses. The mutable signs. And although Taurus is not a mutable sign, it is a fixed sign, it is an exception. Yeah. It is an exception. So, we are going to go and we are going to jump right in and talk about how this combination can be seen in nature, right? So, where do we see this combination? Well, understand that Taurus symbolizes fixed earth. So, the globe of the earth, it's a sphere. The earth doesn't change from its sphere. It doesn't become flat. It doesn't become tall. It doesn't break apart. It stays spherical. That's one fixity. The other fixity is that the globe of the earth sits in space along with all the other planets and everything else in space and stands still. It doesn't fall in space. It doesn't free fall in space. It's sitting there with an invisible scaffolding around it that we can't see because of the darkness of space. So we don't see that the earth is actually being held in place along with all the other planets by the dark matter, the scaffolding of the universe. So we have to put this in the aspect of the human personality and ego. A double fixity of this nature can create tremendous pillars of structures of thoughts, of ideas, but also physical structures. You see our buildings, our skylines of New York City, of Miami, of Chicago, of Los Angeles, Australia, London, Sydney. You see these beautiful structures, that's fixed earth. We have been able to create foundations of structures on this planet that supersede anything that any other human species has created throughout a millennia. We have plants, minerals, animals, bacterium, We have other kingdoms on our planet that don't do what we do. We are gods on this platform in which we can do anything and everything we want. But everything is subject to entropy. Entropy is a force that destroys. When you create something, eventually it destroys. When you cook a food and you leave it out after a day or two, it begins to spoil. Nothing in nature stands still. Remember, I mentioned that. Things either evolve or degenerate. Stability and permanence is only for a moment in nature, including the nature of the human consciousness. And Taurus symbolizes that type of fixity of consciousness, which allows us to experience temporarily a blissful state of beauty. What I just said was deep, and many people might not capture it right away. But the only way that we can understand and appreciate the beauty of our planet, the beauty of our trees, the beauty of our structures, man-made and those from nature, is the fact that we can sit back and go, wow, look how beautiful that is. Look how lovely that is. And in that loveliness and in that realization, we experience God. And that moment in time where things become permanent. This is the fixity of Taurus. So, where do we see this in the context of the human personality and the ego? Of course, we see it in the behavior and in the way that the Taurian, both men and women, interact with each other and with nature. Taurus, the Taurus woman and the Taurus man, is very, very connected with nature in ways that none of us have any idea, because the Taurian doesn't speak. The Taurus experiences nature and in all of her grandeur and her beauty through the art. Through the art, hold on one second. Through the art of observation. The art of observation. Taurus rules silence. It is the stillness of nature. Nature has a stillness to it. If you live in the country or you belong to the country and you stand out in the darkness, not even the stars are lighting, and you feel the density of the dark in the trees and in the woods, in the country where you're at, and you stand still, it could be very frightening. Just like the vacuum of space can be very frightening. Well, we also have a vacuum down here too, and it is a vacuum of stillness. And Taurus represents that level of silence, that level of stillness. That's why when you're with a Taurian, man or woman, and they're quiet, and they can be quiet all day long, silent, there's nothing wrong with them. That's when they are at their best. They are in a state of blissfulness, peacefulness, and silence is how you pull God to you. In order to listen to God, you have to be still. Spirit and ego and personality has to be still in order for the light of God to reach you and communicate with you, with the soul. We have to quiet the personality and the ego so the soul can experience divinity. So understand that Taurus, which is a very spiritual sign, and a lot is not spoken about the spirituality of Taurus, along with Capricorn. Ooh, not much is spoken about him. So understand that the Taurian gets irritated and angry and nasty when he's pulled out of that stillness and that silence, where he experiences total bliss. So the more quiet, my whole point in 14 minutes and 56 seconds of discussing this is that I need you to understand that the psychological nature of the Taurian is not that much different from the stillness of nature in all her beauty. The hurricanes and the cyclones and the twisters that you see destroying trees and destroying people and lives and who wants that kind of excitement of the earth? These are terrifying acts of nature. And it makes us afraid of nature. But if nature stands still only for a moment, we can observe her immense beauty from within and from without. That same beauty can be seen in the Taurian ego and personality. So, if you have this type of person in your midst, understand that you have a great treasure and a great value, because a Taurian that's in your life is there to bring you stability. You have to understand why you bring certain people or attract certain people into your life. If a Taurus comes into your life, then that means that it's time for you to stop playing around and develop some sense of grounding and some sense of stability and some sense of inner beauty of self. Because we are a reflection of the Creator, aren't we? No different than those trees are a reflection of the Creator. And it's different forms because there is no categorizing or cataloging our Creator. It is still a concept that we have yet to understand, which is why we fully don't understand who we are. Because if we did, we would be God ourselves. Isn't that what the Bible says? Let man not eat from the tree of life, or else he shall become as one of us, as gods. Let us cast men out of the tree of life, out of the Garden of Eden. For if he shall eat of the tree of life, because he already ate from the tree of knowledge, then he shall become as gods, as us. Then we will no longer be needed. Do you understand why man was cast out of the garden? It wasn't because he did anything wrong. It was because he was seeking to become back like God. But we're under a demiurge, Jehovah, the devil, and the prince of this world and of this solar system. I tell you, there is no devil. It's all Jehovah. It's all under one cloak. And that's the most biggest and most terrifying mystery that I just threw at you, that I know went through many people's heads. And maybe that's a good thing. Not all things should be known or thrown at you all at once. So understand and respect the deep and subtle mystery that Taurus holds. Both the man and the woman. That sensuous beauty that you see physically in a Taurus man or in a Taurus woman is a testament of the physical beauty only for a moment that creation is allowed to hold. Until then we all die. And then the cycle begins again, the ebb and flow of life. No, but we have a certain stability only for a moment of that, like a picture. When you take a picture, this is why pictures are so memorable, because pictures capture a moment that's never going to come back to you again. So understand that the Taurian personality and ego has treasures beyond belief to give to every partner that they have, that they choose to be with them. You got to be lucky when you get a Taurian that wants to be with you. Remember, the opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. So there's a lot there. Don't sleep with these people. Don't mistake them. And they're laying in the pastures. Oh, these are lazy motherfuckers. No, no, no. It's like the lion. The lion is no different. He lays with his tail, like, wiggling the bugs and mosquitoes and going, I hate water. You know? They're cool. You want them to be cool. You don't want them to be roaring and causing ruckus. Have you ever felt the running of a bull in Spain? Let me tell you, it is the most terrifying feeling you can ever experience. Have you ever felt the running of a bull? Your feet shakes. The ground shakes when a bull is running towards you. It is the most terrifying feeling. I was in the military and I've thrown grenades. Okay, when my company went to the Persian Gulf in 1986, and I know what it is to feel a grenade blasting in front of you. It's like an earthquake, and you feel it is the most terrifying feeling in the world. So understand that strength of Taurus, baby, you don't want that unleashed onto you. But understand what they can do with that strength. Oh, I need another drink for that one. An excuse for a drink, right? Now, when we're dealing with the Taurus man and the Taurus woman, right? Going into the sexes, let's discuss the fact that the Taurus woman is the boss. Who's the boss? I haven't said that in a while, right? Who's the boss? Who's the boss? It will be the woman, the Taurian woman, because she is the organizer and the planner, and she puts everything together. She makes sure that the house is beautiful with the beauty of nature, the trees, the flowers, real shit, nothing fake from Miss Taurus in the house, and she's gonna be, of course, delicious, and then of course her man gets all those benefits. He's a lucky motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You can't do wrong with the Taurus woman. She is poised. She is the earth goddess. Capricorn is the earth queen, the cardinal earth, the strongest of all of us. And then you have the earth goddess, which is Miss Taurus. And then you have the maiden, which is Virgo. Now that's how the earth functions. And then of course with the man, you have the conqueror, an executor, which is Capricorn, the devil. We are at his mercy. We have to get down on our knees. In fact, being on your knees is a Capricorn phenomenon. Capricorn rules the joints, the bones. So when you're in a knee position, when you're praying, that is a Capricorn stance. And then you have Taurus, the bringer of the spoiled goods of the conquered. And then you have Virgo, which takes some of these goods, stealing it sometimes, and giving it to the poor. Because Virgo represents virtue and mercy and that essence of inner humanity that makes us human and separates us from the animals and being from the animal stage. Okay? So before I go into a more deeper analysis, Taurus man, Taurus woman, I had to discuss this philosophy, this abstract about Taurus, and symbolically what it means to be a Taurus and what it means when a Taurus comes into your life. Because I don't think the books, and even in my own generation, when in my 20s, in the 80s, not much was spoken about the inner spirituality of Taurus, the Hierophant, and the tarot card, and the weight deck or the rider deck, or the Aleister Crowley, the Book of Thoth, which has the Taurus as the Hierophant, the High Priest, the secret revealer of deep knowledge of the earth and of the cosmos and of God that is not privy for everyone to know. Remember, the opposite sign is Scorpio. The holder of all the mysteries of the cosmos that is so terrifying that you don't want to know about it. Okay? So understand that Taurus is deep. It's deep. So if you find yourself in a relationship with a Taurus woman and a Taurus man, understand that the beauty of nature has just been brought to your footsteps. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to handle it accordingly? Or are you going to throw it away? No. How are you going to handle those gifts? And what does the shadow look like? What does the shadow look like between the Taurus man and the Taurus woman? What are the day-to-day operations, daily operations? Understand that this combination requires a certain level of routine and continuity that cannot be broken, because then it can destabilize the Taurian. Even though same sign combination is only one part, the Taurus combination will have two parts, because it's deep. It's deep. And I had to discuss the psychological aspect of the nature before I went into the specifics. And we're done with part one.